How were the City of Evil sessions like compared to Waking the Fallen? Was it a different vibe entirely?
Yeah, a little bit. We did that record to tape, and as far as drums, we did to tape, which was normal. And then we would sync up Pro Tools with the tape machine and dump the takes we liked from tape into Pro Tools once we got the take. So we had two systems going all the time. And what we learned is we liked the groove sections of the drums off a tape, but all the fills we liked off the digital. So I would be compiling all these takes between not only different performances, but also between different media, meaning between tape and digital, analog and digital. So as we were fast forwarding towards the end of that record, we had our string date, and then we were sending that record out to Andy Wallace to mix. And Andy, I think, has mixed all the records that the guys have done since that point on. And I remember prepping the files for Andy, and I noticed that our the phase in our drum kit was changing. And so after doing some investigating, I found out that the tape machine was out of phase with Pro Tools. So I called the studio and I said, there's something wrong with your tape machine, and it's causing us a lot of problems. And they did not want to admit to it. They said, no, it's your Pro Tools system. Like, you brought your own Pro Tools system. It's on you. And this was the same studio we had to go in and do strings. And for some reason, we got booked for 2 days of strings, and we only needed 1 day, but we were going to get charged 2 days. And so we made a deal with the studio. We said, listen, have your tech check out the tape machine in Studio B. And if it comes back that the repro head is out of phase with the sync head, this is very technical, but if it comes back as out of phase, you're going to give us 1 free day. And, I'm off the hook for that string day. So they said, and they were so confident, they said, that's a bet we're willing to take. So they had their tech check it out, and it was out of phase. So we got the free string date. So I guess, the reason I bring that up, because that was in an era when like big studios were going out of business. Power Station went out of business that week. The tape manufacturing stopped. So I just remember like, this is the end of these type of records for the most part, and now I'm in one of the best studios in the world, and their tape machine isn't calibrated correctly or maintained correctly. So it was a real kind of like eye-opening of what the future held as far as record making, and how it was just going to become digital, and kind of where we are now with emulations and everything kind of digitally based. Right. So, that was a big takeaway for me on that record. And again, that was another record at the end that I knew we had something special. From everything from M.I.A. to Beast and the Harlot to the ballad song, I forget the name of that one, Seize the Day. And no one thought that Backcountry would be the single. That was definitely a surprise to me that was going to be the big song off that record. No one thought of it. I always thought Beast and the Harlot would be the big song. And Seize the Day we knew would be a big song. And then I thought M.I.A. would be the next song. So that was definitely Warner Brothers choosing Backcountry. And that song did really well for the guys.
When you were recording those songs, which song from that record stuck out to you the most in studio when you were recording them?
I think that for me on that record, it was definitely Beast and M.I.A. and Seize. I thought those were like the big landmark songs on that record.
So going from Waking the Fallen to City of Evil, were you surprised that the band changed up their sound to a large extent instead of just sticking with what worked for them on Waking the Fallen?
Yeah. And I still think it's a metalcore record to a certain extent, but they're a band that kind of like, you don't know if they're a metal band or a hard rock band, and they kind of like walk that line, in a way that's uniquely Avenged Sevenfold. So I heard the demos for City of Evil. I had Matt come in and sing on a Death by Stereo record I was producing. And those guys obviously knew each other. So I had Matt come in and sing on a song for us, and did such an amazing job. And then he played me the demos. He played me Beast and the Harlot, and I was blown away. I was like, I don't even know what to say. Like, the demos were pretty much as fully formed as the record. you know? It was just amazing. I was like, I heard the progression in his voice. I heard the progression in their songwriting. I heard the progression in the drumming and the guitar playing. Everything was just so phenomenal, that it blew me away to the point where I didn't care that they let that sound go. You know, I was like, this is amazing. Like when I heard Beast and the Harlot, the hairs on my arm stood up. I was like, this is amazing. You know, the fact that this is a progression in such a jump is so cool.
Do you remember recording Beast and the Harlot?
Oh yeah. That was, I mean, that whole record that record was fun too. There were a couple of times that making that record was a little bit tough because of some other circumstances that were going on. But, I remember, the funny thing on that record, not particularly on Beast and the Harlot, but the studio flooded.
Oh, it literally flooded.
Yeah. We were doing this record in February, and in Los Angeles, it's our rainy season in February. And we were in this new studio. We had tracked drums at Ocean Way Studios. We were doing overdubs at this other studio in a tough part of town. And it was a new building or a new conversion. And Friday night we had a big rainstorm and it flooded the whole studio. And I had guitars, not on the floor, but in guitar stands that were near the floor. And I had guitar pedals on the floor. Oh. And all that stuff was like floating in water. Like all the jacks of all the instruments were just submerged underwater. And I remember getting called into the studio on a Sunday to dry it out, everything. Cause we had the head of Warner Brothers coming in to listen to the record. So I had to it was so funny. It was so stressful that 24 hours of getting the water out of the studio and then drying out all the instruments, drying out all the pedals. And I lost a pedal that was, whatever it's worth, was the kind of the bass sound of the record. This one never came back to normal. I still have it.
That one was one of the flooded ones?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
There you go. Got it.
That.
Really? But you've kept it.
I kept it because sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't work.
Oh, okay. Was that the extent of the damage from the flood?
Everything else I was able to dry out. Yeah, because it was rainwater and it was fairly clean water. I took everything apart, dried it out with hair dryers, and I think everything kind of came back. Yeah. And the most important gear, like the amps and some outboard equipment, was high enough that it didn't get submerged. But all my cables got, either I re-soldered cables. I remember rebuilding some stuff too. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe for more. All the videos on this channel are original. I'm the one conducting all the interviews and editing all the videos together. So if you guys like what you see and you want to support, the best way to do so is honestly just to subscribe. Lots more to come.